other cycle going. How do people's individual stories get told, come together, build power together, change laws, build institutions that help us keep moving forward? So, I mean, it really does, for me, start in people's individual stories. When Carolina showed up, like fresh from court, with this clarity that the laws as they existed, the institutions that they existed, were not there for her, but we're gonna validate her getting stiffed out of thousands of dollars. Or when Just Ramona testified, she's a pattern maker and fashion designer in the Bronx, that when she got stiffed, like, she knows right from wrong, and so the people that she owed got paid, the people that she had hired to help support that work got paid, but that left her without the ability to pay rent and utilities. And where was the law, or where was the New York City government, or where were institutions for her to honor that and help build power and strength together? And we heard story after story, but I know there's a lot more in this room, so I mean, Sarah took a little poll, but so how many people here work as freelancers and independent contractors? And how many of you have been stiffed out of money that you were earned, forced to wait months longer than you needed to, or cheated out of hundreds or thousands, or in some cases even tens of thousands of dollars? So all those stories were out there, but they hadn't come together. So first and foremost, today I want to honor the organizing work that helped bring your stories together, helped you find each other, helped you build power. So let's give it up for Sarah Horowitz. Really powerful and important work that is starting to be seen across the country, but those models of bringing people together are so important. Then all the work you heard about and that we did together to make it, to take that, to listen, to craft it into law. And for that, I also want to do a big shout out to Caitlin, who did a lot of work.
Woo! Caitlin!
I think I saw Annie Levers from my office here somewhere, but she really did extraordinary behind-the-scenes work to help.
Oh, there she is.
All right, Annie's we had tremendous support from the chair of the Consumer Affairs Committee, Rafael Espinal. We had great staff of the City Council to shape it into a really creative law. When you're doing something that hasn't been done before, you got to figure out a lot of the pieces. And I think as people start to explore it, and you heard a little of this from the commissioner, you're going to find that it was crafted in some really thoughtful ways. So you've got your right to just go to court on your own and sue for double damages and attorney's fees. But you also have a navigator in the Department of Consumer Affairs and the Office of Labor Policy Standards. And it's structured in a way so you can also work together on it. So you can use that app with Freelancers Union, and that what we'll be doing is continuing to build strength and power. And especially today, as the law goes into effect, as we're like handing the legislation off, I just want to say a special word about what Commissioner Salas and Deputy Commissioner Vladeck have been doing. It's really a sort of untold story. But that new Office of Labor Policy and Standards is becoming an institution that protects all kinds of workers in this city, and is a place, unfortunately, we have historically, since the New Deal, looked to Washington to defend and protect workers' rights under the National Labor Relations Act. And that never was good for independent contractors and freelancers, but at least in some times it has been good for traditional W-2 employees. We face a time now when it is not going to be a vehicle, unfortunately, for protecting the rights of workers. And if we're going to do that, we are going to have to do it right here. And what a great moment to have this fantastic new institution that is already stepping up to protect paid sick days for New Yorkers and transit benefits, and build out an office of paid care, and look to defend grocery workers and car wash workers with some creative legislation. And now in a way that really just takes it to the next level, because it says we can recognize all workers and defend them in this city with this new Freelancers Isn't Free law. So the work they've done to build a new website, to get ready to support and implement this law, to be out there this morning early up the subways is really, really tremendous. So please say one more time, it's it's our job to keep it going, to keep pushing forward. So some of that is implementing this law well. So yeah, sorry, now we can vote for that. don't see anymore. All right. So help spread the word. Obviously, a lot is happening to make sure people know about their rights under this law, but there's a lot of people who still don't. So make sure people know about their rights. Help them bring their claims forward to DCA through the app for Freelancers Union. Let's show this works, and that's going to be a big deal. But there's a few other things we're going to do as well. One thing that we heard in the very same testimony was about freelancers facing discrimination based on race and other factors. And one thing we learned is that there's not sufficiently clear protections in federal, state, or local human and civil rights laws for freelancers and independent contractors. So one of the next things we're going to do in the New York City Council is fix that and make sure it's very clear in the New York City human rights law that the freedom from employment discrimination, the right not to be discriminated against, it applies to freelancers and independent contractors just like it applies to traditional employees as well. So we got to get that done. We're not done yet, but the law's in good shape, and I think sometime in the next couple of months we'll get it done. And then I hope, just like there were some great allies out for freelancers, and SEIU 32BJ and teachers and folks who aren't freelancers came out for you, that you'll also keep coming out for them. The next thing we're going to do like this in New York City is try to make sure that shift workers, fast food workers and retail workers, that we end the plague of abusive scheduling that they have been facing, that we make sure that they have a fair work week, 2 weeks advance notice of their schedule, a path to more hours or a full-time job, protection from abusive practices like on-call scheduling or clopenings. So we are almost there, but we're not quite there. And I think over the next couple of weeks, I hope just like people, you found power in bringing your stories together and building power through organizing and creating new laws and new institutions that will do that for fast food and retail workers as well. We can make this city a place that honors all its workers, that helps those stories get built into power and then make them durable institutions in this city. So thanks for being a part of that. And look forward to it.
So just before we hear from our next speaker, I really would love it as I'm looking out and seeing the freelancers who just have been such great foot soldiers, if we could just raise